Yo, alright, so I'm back at another part, and today we're gonna talk about time frames and how I see time frames. And I see time frames a little bit differently than most people or your average trader, and how I use time frames is differently. They about the same, but what made this conversation come up was yesterday me and Derek, got kind of like my mentor, was talking about it. And time frames really don't matter in the asset of like how you're trading. Well, they matter how you're trading, but like how you're looking at the market. Like the 4 hour, it gives more details and more data than a daily, but it's still the same information as the daily. And you'll get to a certain point where you can see through the time frames to a certain degree. Like, of course, you can't see to the from the daily to the 15 minute. It's damn near impossible. But you can see from the daily to sometimes, like, you can kind of tell what the hourly did or the 4 hour did. You know what I mean? Just based on how the candle is shaped. So, like, you'll see that data. The lower time frames just give you more details. And what I want people to think about and how I want people to start using time frames is think about it like, how do you want to trade? How often do you want to trade? How much do you want to win when you're trading? Do you want to, like me, I use the M10. Now, the M10 is not a very widely used time frame. Not that many people, like, it's not something that like the average broker give you, especially if you're not trading futures. When I trade forex, so a lot of people aren't placing their orders on the M10 close. It matches up sometimes, when it's the 30-minute or the hour or the 30-minute or the hour. Yeah, that's the only time it really matches up. It doesn't match it up with anything outside of that, and that's just with the M15, maybe the M5. You know what I mean? But like, what I want people to, how I use it is, it gives me slightly more details, so I have more likely of a chance to scale in than if I was trading the M15. But I don't miss as many trades as if I was trading on the M5 because, of course, I'm going to get a lot more confirmations for my trades on the M5. So that's how I want people to, start thinking about trade. Like, when you think about how do you want to trade, that's when you pick your time frames. You can get your data from the higher time frames, but, like, if you only want one entry, maybe two entries on the setup, M30H1, that's okay. Especially if you want to trade your setup for a longer period of time, you're still going to have opportunity to scale in, but you're going to have to risk more. That's just what comes with it. You may have to have 50 pips, 60 pips stop loss, Whereas if you was trading I trade on the M10 with UJ, I can have a 20 pip, 25 pip stop loss. Yeah, when I'm scaling in, I'm damn near dragging my stop loss every 15 pips, And that's because of how I'm really just using the market. I'm using it as how do I want to see the market? Like, if I'm buying, I can buy on the H1, but I want to be able to scale in. So I have to. So that's why I go to the M10. If I use the M5, I'm going to lose a lot more trades. If I use the M15, I'm going to have to use a bigger stop loss. So what I do, I met it in the middle. I went to the M10. I have an okay stop loss. I'm seeing the market still clearly. I'm still using the other time frame data, like the daily and H4 support and resistance. It don't even give me on the H4 structure. I don't even use the H4 structure when I trade. I may use the H4 close to help me enter my trade, but I don't use the H4 structure to trade. It takes too long. Like, ain't nobody finna wait 3 days for a setup. I'm trying to trade every day, So I have to look at it like that. What am I going to be able to see today? And on the M10, I'm getting those. That's what's going to give me the opportunity. I'm not saying I can't use the M15. I most definitely can. I probably have some better entries if I use the M15. But it helps to be able to, okay, this is what the market is doing. This is how we're looking at it. This is what I'm trying to do. This is how much I'm trying to risk. And I'm having success doing that. So when you look at time frames, and what time frames you want to trade on, once you start thinking about that, think about how if you was to use this time frame, how many times will you be able to enter? What is the average pullback on structure on this time frame? What is the average what is that shit called? Expansion. What's the average expansion if you was to use this time frame? You know what I mean? Think about stuff like that. And that's how you will better your trading. This is a shorter video, different part, but I want y'all to think about it like that, you know? Time frame, you think of time frame as how you want to trade. How often do you want to be looking at the market? How often do you want to be adding to your position? How much drawdown are you willing to take? How big you want your stop loss to be? That's going to help you out a lot. Shout out to all my vamps. We out.